Hello, I'm Lauren Green, and you're in the Strategy Room. Yesterday, Donald Trump and Melania Trump had a historic visit at the White House, where President Obama and Donald Trump sat down for their first formal meeting, where they both seemed to set aside differences and chart a peaceful path for the transition of power in January. President Obama seemed to be open and optimistic for the future after a polarizing campaign season where he spoke negatively about Trump on the campaign trail at Clinton rallies and events. Is this meeting a sign that both parties are turning over a new leaf in order to unite a split nation? Joining me now, professor at Iona College and strategist at Applied Economics, Jeanne Zaino, and Vice President of the Manhattan Republican Party, Morgenstern. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Jeanne, let me start with you because just what you made of the meeting yesterday, I guess in contrast to the campaign trail.
And it was astonishing because these two men have been bitter political enemies. I mean, President Obama spent the last month or so just excoriating Donald Trump, and vice versa for the last several years with Donald Trump towards the president. So it was fascinating to me. I didn't realize it was the first time they had ever met in person.
I never realized that either.
That's
prominent as Trump is,
as prominent as he is, you think they would have met. And so I thought it was a very positive sign. I think it is more of a sign that these two men are now going to be an exclusive president's club, and regardless of bitter, public feuds, you see George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton get together. I think it'll be the same thing. So I think it's more of a sign that they recognize that they now have something in common. It's a very small group of people versus the idea that the Democrats and Republicans are all of a sudden going to mend fences. I wish I could say I thought that was going to happen, but I think come the new Congress, we're going to see a good amount of tension between the parties once again.
You know, Brian, it's very interesting because Trump talked about yesterday that he thought the meeting was going to be about 10 or 15 minutes, and it ended up being like about an hour and a half, and they could have gone on longer. But he openly mocked Trump as unfit to control the launch buttons. Trump was a birther, and just recently undid that. Was all of this just campaign talk? I mean, was it just campaign talk, and now because we've got so much cross-pollination between Republicans and Democrats anyway?
Yeah. Look, there's probably some real element to the animosity between the two, but playtime's over and it's time to govern.
Yeah.
And there's also the precedent that Obama benefited from when George W. Bush started the transition. He said, look, we lost, our party lost, but we are going to be professionals. And this is about the country, not partisanship. And I think Obama really appreciated that, and it helped him get his presidency off the ground, and it was good for the country. And I think that is kind of where he was coming from. Well, it wasn't the result I wanted, but we have no choice but to move forward together and give this guy the benefit of the doubt. Because he's going to be the president whether I, Obama, like it or not. So we're going to go forward as professionals.
And Jeanne, Trump also seems to be scaling back on a lot of that campaign rhetoric. A couple of stories out today about how the whole, what's banned the Muslims, that's off of his website now. It's just not there anymore. And so was it also just campaign talk? Are we going to see a lot of that, more of that coming about, like maybe the wall or about other things?
No, I do think that Donald Trump is going to moderate some of those views that were so difficult for people on the other side during the campaign. And I think we've seen that since he won. I mean, it's only been a few days. And I would just say the really guiding light in this area is George H.W. Bush. And I know this has been making the rounds on Twitter, but he wrote a beautiful note to his nemesis, Bill Clinton, when Bill Clinton was coming into office. And it is a beautifully written note that he left for Bill Clinton, welcoming him to the White House and wishing him the best, because of course it's in the best interest of the country. And that's the kind of leadership you want to see. So I was very glad that President Obama was so gracious, and so was Donald Trump, because we do need a lot more of that, because this has been such a bitter and divided campaign, particularly, as you mentioned, between these two gentlemen. So I think that picture of the two of them in the White House, seated as they were just as dignitaries are, as opposed to in another fashion, which the White House could have put up, I think that was a really important sign to people. I think it's going to take people a while on the other side to accept Donald Trump, but I do think those images really do help.
And Brian, I just want to get your final thoughts on this.
Yeah, now's the hard part. We had almost 2 years of, at times, what seemed like performance art, and just one story to the next, multiple stories a day, where people were just, rending their clothes and wailing about what was going on. Well, we're going to have a new government of the United States in January, and it's hard to run a country. And so to the extent that people can sober up and face the challenges and find common ground where it exists, that is what I hope is going to happen over the next couple months.
Wow. All right. Thanks, Brian and Jeanne. Thanks for being here. And for complete political coverage, stay right here at FoxNews.com. I'm Lauren Green. And thanks for watching.